Alright, so in this video, I don't know how I'm going to make out, but I see no information on the web, no videos. Maybe it'll help somebody if I figure it out. But the blower motor, which is behind the glove compartment in my daughter's 2005 Scion TC, is making funny noises when it's running. Kind of, you know, like you could refer it to as the playing card, piece of cardboard stuck in the wheel of a bicycle, like clicking sound when it's running. Can't really hear it on low, but if you turn it on anything higher than that, you'll hear it. So let me just, all I've done so far is drop my glove compartment down. So you would normally do this if you wanted to change like the ventilation filter, which most Scion TCs don't have from that time frame, even though they have the spot for it right up there. You can add one yourself if you want, but they usually don't have them in there from the factory. But anyway, so this is the blower right here. There's a motor right underneath it, which you can't see because it's too dark. That black thing is kind of a gold tint, gold screw above it. The mower spins down there, and the fan itself is behind here. And usually what I'm hoping for happens is, especially because there's no, I should have put one in, but I never did. There's no filter in these models, typically. When it's on fresh air mode, you could get leaves in there. Pretty much anything could get sucked into there. And that, with that fan blowing, spinning, you'll get some noise. So let me go ahead and just turn on the motor. So that's what we get. So, all right. So what I need to do now is figure out how to take this all apart. Unfortunately, you can't see down inside the fan to remove any debris. The other thing is the motor itself could be bad, but I'm hoping it's just dirty. So now, without any better instructions, I'm going to just try to take this all apart. You'll see screws here. There's a bolt up there. There's another bolt back there. There's a computer here, which is attached to here. My guess is a lot of this is going to have to come apart in order to remove this. But I'll see how I make out and update the video. Okay, so one thing I've noticed so far, well, I took the glove compartment door off, which is easy enough. To drop it down, just open it, and then you have to push in on each side. You'll see there's like retaining clips up here on each side. You push in on each, and then that'll release it and drop it pretty much down to the ground. It'll still be connected at the bottom, but that is just at these points right here. There's little pieces here. You'll see it's clipped on, and you could just jiggle it off. So one thing I noticed right away was, you'll see like right down here, there's a kind of a little piece of padding, noise proofing, and it's plastic underneath here, and it looks like this likely pops out, or at least comes out somehow. There seems to be some retaining clips on it, so I'm going to try to remove that out. Hopefully I don't need to take like all this out, which isn't a big deal. I just hate putting those back together afterwards. So I'll see how I make out. Alright, so I was able to get that piece off pretty easily. If I pull down in the far back of it, toward the bottom, it bent down, and then there are these two retaining clips here, one on each side, and I was able to pull it out. I don't know that I did that the exact right way it was supposed to. Kind of felt like I was going to snap it at one point. But you know what, it's almost dark here and I got to get this done. And the car's also got 210,000 miles, so if it snapped, it snapped. All right, so this is looking up underneath at it from below, now that that panel's out. And you can see the bottom of the blower motor. It's held in by 3 screws. I can't reach there with my finger, but that's one. There's one up here, and then one over here. If I get those 3 screws out, I should be able to drop the whole thing straight down. And that would be really easy. So I'm hoping that if I do that, I don't have to take everything else apart, and maybe I could see, you know, if there's any debris in there or what. So that's the next step. All right, so I just got the 3 screws out, and just a heads up, the screws are kind of like multi-headed, so you could use either a Phillips screwdriver or a flathead will also fit in there. They're in there pretty tight, so I found that I had to switch to a flathead in order to unscrew them, but they're not too long. You could see them right there. A shorter screwdriver would probably work better. So the motor is now loose, and I'm going to just jiggle it out here and drop it down. Ugh. And looky what we have in here. Gee, I can't imagine what's making those noises. Acorns. So I'll go ahead and get those cleaned out, and before I put it back up and in, I'll just turn the fan on again quick and make sure it's quiet. But this is awesome. Alright, so I got this car started now. I'm actually holding the whole assembly in my hand. You want to be careful if you do this. I did this once already before I started filming. And I did not hurt myself because I was careful. But these things spin really fast. You don't want to get like your fingers stuck or something in there. So you'll see, unfortunately I have to do this with 2 hands. Let me go ahead and turn on the blower motor on low. So far so good. We'll go up a couple of speeds. Cranking, perfectly quiet, and I'll go all the way up to high now. Very impressive. That thing is blowing some serious air. And again, it's crystal. It's not crystal quiet. It's quiet. Alright, I'll get this all put back together and test it one more time and finish up the video. Alright, now that I'm just putting stuff back together, I figured I'd show you a couple of things that I didn't originally. So this is that lower panel that's below the blower. There's really 3 clips on it you got to look for. So this is the front one, and it's not even a clip. It just sticks into a hole, which is, see that back there? It just goes into this here in the back. There's a slot right here that this piece here just slides into, and then you have these 2 clips in the front here and here. And if you're removing the panel, you could pull the panel down in the front and then pull it down like so, and then with your fingers pull out, and it'll come out of the slot and it'll come out of that. Now the reverse would be putting it back, which is what I'm doing right now. All I got to do is put this in first, then line it up with this to go into that slot, push it in like so, and then you should be able to just push up with it and have these 2 retaining clips snap in. Alright, so I'm just putting back the glove compartment. I figured I'd show you where the clips are to remove the door from the glove compartment. If you want to take it off completely, the clips are right here and over there. That side's not connected at all right now. To put it back together, just line up the clips, get them on, kind of like sitting on it, and then I think you have to move the glove compartment up as if you're closing it, and then they will snap into place. But one thing I realized as I'm putting this all back together is the obvious, which is, now that I see how this is all put together, you don't need to take the glove compartment door off at all to do this job. You could just remove that lower panel down here from underneath, and you could have all the access you need to get the blower assembly out and motor, and clean it out if that's the problem with it, or replace it if that's the problem with it, if you need a new one. So the same procedure goes for either one. And that's about it. The only other thing I would add is, one thing I am doing for sure now, after this happened, is I am going to install an cabin air filter into this car. Yours may or may not have one in it, depending on what year it is, and whether or not you added one yourself, or the current owner previous owner did, or the dealership may have at some point. But this is the tray that comes out. It just slides right up into there. That's it. Pops right out. If you don't have one, it'll be empty like this, and you just have to buy one and put it in. I'm pretty sure if you go to a auto parts store, or like Walmart, if they sell cabin air filters, just look it up in the catalog. In the filter catalog they have for this model, there's probably one listed. Again, even though they didn't originally come with it. I'll try to put that information on this video if there's an exact part number you could use for that. And I guess that's it. And one thing I did learn was, I believe the reason there's no filter in this model is when Toyota came out with this in 2005, the Scion TC, can't speak for other models, that the airflow was not adequate to their standards, and they decided to leave out the filter, cabin air filter itself, to improve the airflow. So if you put one in, it's probably going to reduce the flow a little bit, but you can decide for yourself whether or not it's worth it. If the filter had been here, then this problem would have never happened with the debris getting down into the fan. So I'm going to put a filter in. And that's about it. I may put this back together and do a quick test on video. Okay, I have the door back together here, and I figured I would just show you. If you are removing it, and again, you don't need to remove it to do this job, but say if you want to replace or add a cabin air filter, you are going to have to do that. So you open the door, you'll see there is a little retaining bar here. You're going to have to pop that off in order to get the glove compartment all the way out. It just pops right off. And now, of course, it slipped back there, and I'm going to have to take it apart again to get at it. But once you do that, all you need to do is push in on this side and push in on that side. You might have to push it up a little bit, and then the door will completely drop down, and then you'll see the cabin air filter behind there. Alright, glove box is back together, car is running. Gonna go ahead and turn on the fan. No more noise. So all in all, very easy job, worked out very well. It's still light outside, and again, one of the nice things about working on Toyotas is very easy, especially these Scions. Everything's usually real easy to get to and work on, and in this case it worked out. If it only had the air filter in it to begin with, would have never had this problem, so shame on Toyota on that one. But otherwise, good to go. Good luck with yours. Feel free to comment or ask questions.